No fair. Hey there. My lights went out in the back. I'm sorry. Sometimes it just looks better, prettier to have them up and working. Let me get this straight today, depending on where I sit. There we go. All right, so I found this very interesting and I want to go over it really quickly. Just let me make sure the channel is operating and working like it's supposed to be, or at least on what, as far as what I can see. There we go. Okay, so this is interesting for several reasons. One is we were just talking about the Grand Canyon. If you're new here and you go back up our playlist of lives, you will see a couple of videos where we are exploring the Grand Canyon. I've never been, so we were looking at different parts of the Grand Canyon and trying to like map it out in our minds. And we were even doing some word searches, and the etymological word searches were leading us to Hebrew root words, which is huge because it could prove that indigenous Americans, Native Americans, are one of the lost tribes and that their language is Hebrew. There go my lights. Sorry about that. I don't. It's on an extension cord, and if I don't have it just right, just so it kind of wonks out. Sorry about that. So continuing on. I've also made the Grand Canyon kind of a big part of my testimony. I've said that no matter how things end with all this, I want to see that place. I want to see this magnificent place and decide for myself, not just pictures, and try to discern what's real and what's fake and what's been touched and what's not. On that note, just real quick on old business, there are certain people who are new here. If you don't know about my proxy video, you should check that out. Um, I don't think that I know it all. I don't think that I'm right about everything. And I thoroughly encourage and enjoy it when you guys chime in or give your 2 cents or bring information to the table to try and educate us all. But again, we don't have to accept, receive, or believe anything that is presented to us. We just got to go with what resonates. I'm sorry about that. Um, and that's the only way to really know in the end is if you just dig down deep, go within and see what rings true for you. That's why that saying exists. It rings true. It rings like a bell. You can feel it inside. We are electric beings in part, and so truth has a frequency when it hits you. And if it hits you in a bad way, it's probably not truth. If it's chaotic or disordered, I guess that's a better word. But there are certain things in this testimony that I know. I don't just believe, I know them, and I know God has asked me to talk about them. And so, no amount of gaslighting in the comment section from young ones, especially, it's very obvious when it's someone young, or bots or whatever. I'm just going to not entertain that, just so you're aware. There are certain things I know, just like there are certain things that you know from your life experience. And I'm doing this, not to be popular. I'm not getting shunned for nothing. I'm trying to bring people, expose things to the light, because we can't move on and heal and be a new community and make new, smaller communities of ourselves until we diagnose the problem, bring it out in the light. It is sanitized and cleansed by the light, and then we can move forward. And that's the part I'm trying to just stay alive for and stay in the game for, is the after party, so to speak. All right, so let me pull something up and show you what I'm talking about. I feel like Fire Marshal Bill a lot lately. Let me show you something. All right. Okay, so I got the right thing up. Let me show you. Here we go. Let me make sure that it shares down on little phone screen. Are you guys seeing black? Please tell me you're not just seeing black. What is going on? Hello? All right, that's not right. What's going on? There we go. All right, we're good. Here we go. Hey, somebody took their like away. That's not very nice. I can't help it when it glitches out. All right, so this just happened at the Grand Canyon. All my disclaimers, you can find them in the description box. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. anymore. This is in no part is this channel medical advice. Please seek out the guidance of your chosen professional and or expert. Um, that's a whole nother ballgame. So we are researching and we're taking a look at what's going on at this place we were just talking about. And a couple of things here I'm going to point out. And again, it's not to boast, it is to glorify the one who is giving me these messages. I'm just speaking them. I'm seriously flawed. I was one of the worst sinners in the world, except I was just ignorant. I didn't know I was even on the wrong side. So this in no part is boasting. I get nothing for doing this. If you go back to the previous videos where we're discussing the Grand Canyon and we're researching and we're digging into these Hebrew roots that the names of the Grand Canyon have, and even some Indian roots, Buddhist words. So, and we also talked about the Hopi prophecy. Anyways, getting to the point, I had said in at least 2 of the previous videos as well, maybe the same videos, that if God brought another plague, that I hoped it hit the crypto kings and the wealthy and the elites, and that it also affected their bank accounts. All of the ones who have been deceptive, down to little people who have been deceptive about that. So I'm just going to leave that there and let it lay. The AI overview is going to tell us what's happening at the Grand Canyon. This is not medical advice. I'm not a medical professional. A hantavirus outbreak has been confirmed at Grand Canyon National Park, according to AI, with a park employee testing positive for this. Hantavirus is a rare. I don't know what it is, so I'm learning with you. We're researching. We are being good citizens and doing our due diligence so we know what is happening out there, right? And we can move forward and make informed, educated decisions based upon the information that we have at this time. And then tomorrow, if we have more information, we could change our minds, which humans are known to do. And there is no law against that. Hantavirus is a rare but often fatal. Oh, here we go again with the rats and the bats and the rhyming like we're at Hocus Pocus. Rats, bats, the hats, the tall hats, the cats with the eyes. Like are we in a Dr. Seuss book? Is it Hocus Pocus? What are we in now? A fatal rodent-borne disease spread by deer mice. That's 2 things there. There are 2 occult things there. Again, we are breaking down media headlines and looking at the spiritual roots of things, which again is why this is absolutely not medical advice. Deer mice. Okay, so first you have all of this worshiping of the thing with the antlers in the woods, and you see it in, like, even if you don't watch horror movies, it's in all of the horror movies now. It's on all of the shirts. I just saw a Seether shirt yesterday, and I think it had a jackalope, a rabbit with the horns with antlers. So you have deer with the antlers, right? But you also have the mice added in, the mouse, the rodent, the rat. And what are rats? They are used as, they would say, we are lab rats, right? We're all a bunch of lab rats. So do the word exercises when you sort through these videos. And I think it's a shame that I share everybody else's videos and people don't share this, because words are one thing I know, and you've got a lot of people out here trying to fool you with words, even to the point where they want you to think that English is backwards, so you shouldn't speak at all. That's not really the point. The point is you should be very mindful of the words that you speak, especially in this time, because again, it feels as if God's kind of put his hands in the air and said, okay, you want to manifest, you want what you want, go ahead. You don't want me in schools. You don't want me in your homes. I'm not invited into your homes anymore. You're hiding the book, or you're getting rid of the book, or you're defacing the book. Like one of my son's friends did at the beginning of my testimony. I found a defaced Bible in our kitchen. So again, when I say I know what's going on, I'm not just whistling Dixie. I'm trying to help you. And I do not consent to being shadow banned nor to being hidden. These messages need to go out, and people seem to like hate me but want me in the area. I'll just leave and start telling people door to door, like, hey, wake up, this is what's happening. JD Vance is not a 40-year-old, 30-year-old man. He's like a 22-year-old kid. Okay, they're doing the whole thing with the synthetic rubber masks and other things that I don't even want to know about. But again, I don't have physical evidence or proof, but just like the symptoms of an illness, the symptoms are everywhere in this town of serious debauchery going on. And I know in part from some experience on the one angle, just from my past sin. So moving on. Grand Canyon National Park concessions employee was confirmed to have this Hantavirus. Hantavirus and Hanta, isn't that a Japanese? We're going to do a root word study here in just a moment. The virus can cause a severe, potentially fatal illness, which I don't accept or receive or believe, and neither should you. I cover us all with the habitation of the Lord in Psalm 91 and all the promises thereof. No plague nor pestilence shall darken our doorways, nor the doorways of our temple, which is our bodies. Okay? Go deep with these prayers of protection when you say them over yourself and your family and your pets and your belongings. I've had to pray a lot over Sam because he lost his tags. I can't tell you how many Saint Benedict medals and how many crosses have broken or been taken off of him, and it's always right after being touched by or playing with a certain individual every single time. It is not my imagination. It is not coincidence. I know because I've bought them for him, specifically blessed medals. I've paid for only the shipping or whatever, but I've gone through quite a few. Hantavirus is primarily spread by deer mice. It can be potentially fatal. Norovirus outbreak in the Grand Canyon backcountry affected rafters and backpackers in 2022. I feel like these words are code for something else. How are you hiking out in the fresh air and suddenly you're getting something like this? Everybody, do we got zombie rats? Are they getting bit by what's happening? The outbreak was linked to poor hygiene and safety practices. See, that sounds like MRSA. Again, I'm a former healthcare employee. I am no longer. None of this is medical advice. We're doing our due diligence as good citizens. So we know what to watch out for. Other health concerns. Oh, that's great. A case of rabies exposure was also confirmed. When was that? So you got a lot going on here. And you also have this skywalk thing. I might show you if there's time because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this video at all. I simply just don't for a variety of reasons. So let's go into the root word of this. Let's look up the word. Let's look up Hanta because we know what the V word means, basically, don't we? Shouldn't we all by now? Okay, so it can refer to, let's take these off. It can refer to different things, including a Sanskrit interjection. Hold on. What is a Sanskrit interjection? Usually if I hover, it brings up the little image. What's up with that? I wish I could use my other Explorer. Let's look at what a Sanskrit interjection is. It's often used during rituals and mantra recitations to signify an offering. And what kind of problems are we having in all of the national parks right now? And the Grand Canyon is federally run land. It is also within the boundaries of parks. And how many times have I told you what season we're in? That these things are awake, that whatever agreement our government had with these entities, and they're not aliens, is ended. And these things are awake. And this is why I also tell you to purge yourself, to confess, because they will follow you around through guilt. I know this. Again, I've put all of this stuff together with hours and hours of research. These things follow you, all right? And it's guilt that they follow. Fee, fi, fo, fum. You remember your nursery rhymes from childhood? Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. That is from Jack and the Beanstalk, Jack and the Giant and the Beanstalk. They took Giant out, so then they just call it Jack and the Giant Beanstalk, and they don't really focus on the giant. But fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Fear has a certain smell. Guilt has a certain thing associated with it. They feed off of that, right? And again, I know that's high strangeness for a lot of people. But just do your research. Look into, since 2018, how many people have been ended in the boundaries of the park under suspicious circumstances on a solstice, summer solstice, winter solstice, but usually you're looking at spring, summer, and fall. Okay? And again, you don't have to believe me. The ones in the winter would be like Ohio, Cuyahoga Falls out here. There's a lot of bad stuff that has happened there. So a Sanskrit interjection, they're saying Hanta could be one of those, and it's used during a ritual, and it signifies an offering is being made. Okay, so do you get it? Are you starting to understand? Because we've just had a lot of suspicious people died suspiciously in the Grand Canyon recently as well. Here's a bit more detail. And it says it's giving me different interjections, but it's not telling me what Hanta means. Okay, so I'll come back to you guys. Sanskrit interjection Hanta. That's what I'm typing in. I'll show you in a second. I don't want to have you looking at blinking screens. As seen in the Bhagavad Gita, okay, here, I'll share. Remember, now, if you go back to the other Grand Canyon video, the Let's Explore video, which will be a playlist for Let's Explore, America is Israel, the Bible was a map. Hanta has a multifaceted meaning, evolving and expanding. Enthusiasm, when seen in the Bhagavad Gita, where Sri Krishna and uses Hanta when agreeing to elaborate on his divine manifestations. So Hanta could be a Sanskrit interjection, and using our reasoning here to make a leap, not a big one, just a logical one. We could say that it's signifying an offering and asking maybe for some divine manifestation, or it's an offering to Krishna. Now, again, the other weird thing is that if you look at our other Grand Canyon videos where we do the etymology of the places, the names there, you will see a variety of different root words. It's like a melting pot, the Grand Canyon is, of different languages, which again makes me wonder about things. I almost wonder if like the Tower of Babel was there and, God struck it down and then that's what happened or something like that. They say it was the flood, but okay. So moving on, we see that Hanta is a Sanskrit interjection. So we're going to go back here. Let me make sure that it shares for you guys. Okay, we're good. And now we're going to... Oh, isn't that interesting? Oh, that's a year ago. Okay. Hold on. I will look at that in 1 second. Hanta in Japanese each has its own meaning or nuance, possible meanings. It can mean trouble, anxiety, or nuisance. Huh. Okay. Now, because it never shows us and because it's one of the oldest languages, let's just see if it has any Hebrew roots to it. Hava. Yes, Hava. Hanta, or HNT, if you just have those. Hunt, Hiroshi. However, the Hebrew word for Satan is transliterated as Satan and refers to an adversary or accuser. Why would they? Oh, I guess because of the hatat, sin or punishment. Right here. Okay, you see how you have to scroll down to find it? You see how I had to search for it? It gave me every other language except for Hebrew. Again, we're in a time of inversion and truth is being buried, and you have to turn things around and upside down, unfortunately, to understand their messaging, what's going on, what's being talked about, all these things. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. There we go. Hanta, the Hebrew verb hena, but it's still using it, to encamp or to settle down. It can also refer to an army's encampment. That's interesting. What's happening? Oh, sorry. It like winked out again. All right, so what we're going to do now, we have somewhat of an idea. I'm going to go with the Sanskrit one because it's the oldest. It's even older than Hebrew as far as I understand. In Hebrew, you have to kind of dig for that. So Hanta would be a ritualistic offering. It's a word that Krishna used. Again, Buddhism is huge. I did the video on J.D. Vance and Buddhism. Again, I don't care what religion he is. The problem is that he lied to get votes. If he's going to lie over something so fundamental as his religion, he doesn't. And again, Russell Brand too. Vance ain't the only one. These people, they don't even know the proper way that a Catholic gets baptized. Shia LaBeouf, his conversion seems to be real. And again, that's not the point. The point is deception. The lies need to fall down at this point. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And it doesn't mean that I think that I'm always right. But the things that God gives me and the things that I know with discernment, and this is the only time I'm going to stress on this, and then we're going to jump to the next part because I don't want this to be long, is in the end times, we're told that if God's elect could be fooled, if the truly elect cannot be fooled in this time, we just can't. And I'm a broken person, and I have had a messy past, and I am paying for that now. And that's why I do this, is an act of love. Okay, so in later Sanskrit, Hanta also takes on a broader emotional range, expressing grief or lamentation, joy or surprise, pity or compassion. So it goes on, but we're going to go with this, where it said the ritualistic thing there. All right, so now what we're going to do is jump back to the Grand Canyon, if it'll let me here. And let's check out one or two of the links real quick just to see what the messaging looks like. We're going to click on the Hill because that's a political outlet. And again, they message each other in these ways so that nothing can be traced or tracked, which is why there probably is not a client list, because they don't do anything the normal way, which us plebs, us, useless eaters, they don't do things the same way, so that they can't be caught. And oh, now you're seeing that AI is also being blamed for making horrible videos of children in sensual videos. Those are the people they need to be going after. And I just said this. They need to be going after the producers of the filth. There are real children involved who have been harmed. This AI stuff is getting a little out of hand because they don't want you to be able to trust your eyes. You need to know the difference. And it's really, honestly, not that hard to tell. The Pope's last days, when they have him back in the chair and he looks like surprised, I wouldn't doubt if that were like they recorded that when he was in the throes of passing. And the Britney videos, those have not been her for years and years and years now. There are certain people they have cut off all access to the outside world. I'm probably one of them, though I don't consent, and I pray that God gets these messages to those who need to hear them. But you need to have media literacy and know the difference between this and that. That's why Britney's eyeliner never changes. She always looks like a raccoon, and she slept all night. She always looks messy. And why she always has that lame choker on that's from like the 90s. It's so that when you put their face on there, you can't see the line of demarcation. But people need to wake up. Love your glasses. Thank you. I love vintage everything and anything. Old cars, old hairstyles, old dresses. Oh, I love old dresses. Stop it, Jen. Yeah, I love all things old. Old people. No offense if you're older. Hantavirus, rabies, and rabies. Like, isn't that just fantastic? It sounds like reasons for, do you hear it? I can hear it. It's gonna be for 300 check, I'll take lockdowns, summer 2025, the hottest summer on record. So, yeah, that's next. And I don't call myself a prophet. I don't call myself any of those things. I just do what God asked me to do. Because when I don't, well, now I do it for love. Your reasoning evolves as you go through your testimony. Hantavirus rabies exposures confirmed at the Grand Canyon National Park. This makes me so angry. I was just like, I read a thing and it said it will only take me 30 days to hike from Ohio to hike from here to Joshua Tree. And I was trying to figure out if I could see the Grand Canyon too. And I was like, can me and Sam do this? Well, okay, it might take 45 days. So it'll be like the hottest part of the summer, early fall. We get done. That'd be cool. And now this. Now this. Last time this started, I said I wanted to fly out of the country. I was ready to just go. And at that time, I had the funds to do so. What happened? The first round of lockdowns. It's outrageous. Outrageous. It says it can be fatal. It's also rare. The virus is spread primarily by deer mice, according to, wait for it, folks, what's her name? Eve Walters. Eve, the first woman. Deputy Director Coconino County Health and Human Services. Deer mice are part of the environment at Grand Canyon National Park. Okay, I guess there's field mice and things too. Authorities did not say how the Grand Canyon employee may have been exposed. Gee, isn't that awfully convenient? Hantavirus, which does not spread between people, has no specific cure or treatment. Early medical attention can, however, increase the chance of survival. It does not spread between people. Oh my gosh, they're going to try and come after our pets. I just have a feeling. I don't consent to it, and I pray not, but it seems like that might be a thing. They don't like dogs. They don't want us to have dogs. Dogs protect you. Anything that is some type of, and dogs and children, like they also can sense certain things in the environment when energy changes. Like my dogs always know when I'm sad. And I wouldn't have to have said a word to them. Like even if I'm just quiet and I go into another room, like they know I'm sad and they will come to comfort me. So I just wonder again about this because it seems like they can't actually come take us to our houses, so they want us like scared and in fear and sad and depressed and just all these things. It says earlier this year, an autopsy confirmed that Betsy Arakawa, the wife of actor. So here we go with this again. What kicked all this off was the story of Gene Hackman. He was originally the first person who passed of this in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Now, in New Mexico, also, they're allegedly having a lot of protesting and breakouts and a rush of houselessness, homelessness. Is that actually what's happening, or is it something else? I don't know, but this something doesn't smell right with any of this story because it started with Gene Hackman. And remember when Matthew Perry died, he said, Matt man, again, you have the bats are all into this. And with Rona, it started with the woman biting that animal. And then now you have this. And his wife was Asian, by the way. Are all these, and no offense, but our government did a lot of heinous things to people who were already citizens who were Japanese. And they had concentration camps here in America for Japanese citizens, okay, after Pearl Harbor, because they didn't trust any of them. What if again, why do all these people who are high profile, like Zuckerberg, his handler is also an Asian female, his wife, whatever you want to call her. There's a lot of that going on. And again, it's just interesting that this is what's happening. And we're told that there's all of this Asian hate and racism and bias, but we're raised here in America, like we're pretty much beat down, it's beat into you that if you're a white person, you're terrible and your relatives have done terrible things. And so you need to love everybody and tolerate everybody and be accepting of everybody no matter what. That's how I was raised. And by my one grandmother, I was too dirty. Like she could never wash me clean enough. And I think that's because my mom was dark and my dad was light. And you have these things that have been brewing again as a Trojan horse within our nation for a long time. So it says, data shows from the CDC and this is what the Hill is saying and I quote, from 1993 to 2022, New Mexico had the highest concentration of hantavirus cases in the U.S., uh, followed by Colorado, Arizona, California, and Washington. Um, but again, hantavirus offering. Remember, we just looked at the Sanskrit, a ritualistic offering. 38% of the cases can be fatal. Here we go with something else. So first we have Eve is involved in this. We have a high profile actor who kind of kicks this event off, right? And then now we have Dr. Tom Boo, like boo hoo or boo, did I scare you? This is just weird. The county's public health officer said it was not initially believed that any of them, and I quote, engaged in activities typically associated with exposure, such as cleaning out poorly ventilated indoor areas or outbuildings with a lot of mouse waste, end quote. Boo said in April that deer mice numbers are believed to be high this year in the Mammoth Lakes area, noting that an increase in indoor mice elevates the risk of hantavirus exposure, end quote on that one. Wow. All right, so let's finish this up just to see. Nevada officials advise taking care when cleaning out areas such as sheds, barns, trailers, garages, and cabins where deer mice have nested or left droppings. And so you're also going to have legitimate cases of this with all the houselessness. And I'm sorry, I am for them because they are Jesus's people, but I'm also aware that some of them do have issues and you have waste, human waste on sidewalks and not being properly disposed of. And so you're going to have diseases like this crop up when situations are unsanitary. And this is what I mean when I say we are already in a dystopian society. We were born into it, nobody told us. And this is what we have. Okay, so now they're going to move on to the rabies cases with Eve again. It says, what did she say? Bats are a primary carrier. There are things you can do to protect yourself. Be aware of what you're coming into contact with and take appropriate precautions. There we go. People want to sleep out under the stars, and while that's easy to understand at a place like the Grand Canyon, a tent is safer. I actually agree with that for spiritual reasons. We've talked about that before too. While you're sleeping, you just don't know what might be exploring your face, she said. Again, all throughout the Bible, you're told the tent and to situate it a certain way because walls kind of matter, spiritually speaking. Certain individuals, and they know this because they're legalistic, because they have to be, because they're demonic. They're bogged down by the demonic. All right. Legalistic means following laws that no longer apply, that only apply to them through natural law, right? They can't just enter your body, they can't just enter your home. And again, this is going to sound strange to some of you, but we have a lot of people on the face of the earth right now who are weighed down and bogged down by demonic attachments, which puts them lower in the hierarchy, but it also makes them very legalistic. You might notice friends that you've had forever or relatives just who used to just walk right into your house or whatever. They will knock now. They will ask if they're invited to come in. That's just one small example. I've talked about this ad nauseum about consent being very important right now. It says the recent report at the Grand Canyon involved a bat collected along the Colorado River near Kanab Creek Canyon. Didn't they just get done telling us mice? The bat tested positive for rabies. Okay. Water said the person exposed. Okay, so this is two different things. The field mice was with the hantavirus, and I guess the rabies is with the bat. Okay, so this article is done. Let's go see if there's anything else that stands out as far as the numbers and the symbolisms and the messaging that they're using in the media. The Arizona Republic, that one there, that killed Gene Hackman's wife. It killed Gene Hackman. I thought it killed him. Four cases they're saying there, and that was 3 days ago. Interesting. All right, let's do this real quick. And this will be the last part of this video. Let's actually look at it and where it come from. Hantavirus. Let's do origins. I wonder if this is what was on the Titanic. Okay, according to the AI overview, it says hantaviruses, a group of viruses carried by rodents, were first identified in the mid-1970s during research following the Korean War, where they caused KHF. Okay, strong pause here. When you're being told that this popped up and originated in the mid-70s after a war, okay? And it was found doing research. That should send that should be a red flag for you. That, like, okay, you created it then? They were first identified as the cause of HFRs, a disease affecting soldiers during the Korean War, and later isolated from rodents near the Hantan River in South Korea. Hantavirus, Hantan. I'd like to look up that word now too if you guys want. Rodent hosts. It's carried by rodents. Old world versus the new world. Okay, so shoal, that's funny. Soul viruses, shoal, that's one letter different. Hantaviruses causing HFRs like Hantan and soul viruses are found primarily in Asia and Europe, Old World, while the hantavirus responsible for HPs like sin nombre and Andes virus are found in the Americas. Sin, it has the word sin in it. Are they serious? Okay, let's check this out real quick. What is Hantan? Etymology, there we go. Okay, I'm going to share this page. No, that's not okay. But it was named after a river. All right, so I want the meaning of the word. Okay, so it's from a proper name combined with an English element. Yeah. Where did it get its name? From the Hantan. I spelled that wrong. And it's still not going to tell me, is it? No. I want the river, how it got Hantavirus was first identified. See, they're not even bringing up the... There it is. Wiktionary from Mandarin. It's Mandarin? Handan. Romanticization of Hantan. What does it mean? Further reading. You don't want to tell me what it means? Well, that's dumb. Alternative form of Handan. Mandarin. It's a proper noun. Okay, well, that didn't tell us anything. All right, so let's go back over here. And now you have this one. The sin nombre virus right here, the 1993 outbreak in the Four Corners region of the U.S. led to the discovery of sin nombre virus, a distinct hantavirus causing HPs characterized by severe respiratory illness. This is speculation. This is just my opinion, but I entirely think that they are experimenting on the American public and population and have been for a long time. That's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. It says Gene Hackman's wife contacted it through rodent-infested areas at their New Mexico home. The specific circumstances are not detailed in the reports. So, are they just wanting to close down the Grand Canyon? Is it for your well-being to keep you safe from things that have changed in the last several years? Are they trying to keep people out of there? Because my channel and a variety of different channels have been investigating from our armchair investigating the Grand Canyon, and we found that things just don't add up. I wouldn't storm Area 51 because everybody knows it's there and knows to do it. And they always hide things right in front of you, kinda. I would be going to the Grand Canyon, being safe, of course. I would be going there trying to figure out what is it that they're hiding from everybody that they don't want people to see. Because that is the vibe I'm getting for this. Oh, and on the note of the occult, we're going to switch gears real quick, and I want to go to the Vegas sphere and show you something. The Vegas sphere will now be hosting the Wizard of Oz. The Sphere in Las Vegas has unveiled an installation featuring the legs and ruby slippers of the Wicked Witch of the East, a nod to the upcoming Wizard of Oz immersive experience. Check this out. The installation includes a 50-foot long pair of legs with, how tall, guys? 22-foot tall ruby slippers. And what color are her shoes? Red. And a visual display on the venue's exterior. And Wizard of Oz plays a big part in what's going on in this realm. And they say in MK Ultra, but it tells a lot of truth too. The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere experience opens August 28th and will utilize the venue's technology, including surround visuals, haptic seats. That's interesting. And remastered audio to immerse audiences in the story. This video shows the installation of the Wicked Witch legs on the Sphere. I cannot imagine driving down the road and not looking at that. I would be the person who stared at it and got in an accident. Isn't it funny how we've got that Ferris wheel back there? And it looks a lot like the Ferris wheel when you're watching a movie or the news or something in Britain. That's interesting. And it's interesting how they had the Troop the Colors parade at the same time these bought and paid for protests were happening in LA, where they do big productions out there and where one of the princes also lives. Start putting these things together. They've lied about the land masses too, or they would let people like me on planes. But they won't because we're right about these things. I don't know that they won't, but I'm pretty sure that they won't. Okay, so I would look into like what this means in qubits or whatever. I wonder how much this is going to cost people. Like what they charge for that. Okay, check that out. It's actual. They're not in the sphere. They're actual. It's a prop. They're actual shoes. It's not virtual. Wow. That is wicked. And I'm going to check another date just because I have to know what's going on these dates. And again, these are dates you should watch out for next. Just be aware. What are they doing there on the 14th? I'm curious. The Sphere Experience with Darren Arnosi's Postcard from Earth and VU2, an immersive concert film. VU2? They are so occultish. Dead Company. Is that what it's? Dead and Company, Broken Arrow. Okay. So that is Bastille Day. I would pay attention to that date and this one in July. And that'll be the same thing. But I would look for any, just be extra observant on those days. Okay, so we now know that Sanskrit tells us that Hanta Could mean it's during a ritual that, hold on, it means offering, okay? Now, if you haven't seen the videos, I know they're long, you can skip through parts. Go check out the Grand Canyon ones where I talk about a plague. I think it's in those videos, actually, which is weird. Okay, so it can be an exhortation, express emotion, indicate acceptance or affirmation used in rituals to acknowledge offerings to deities and spiritual beings. So what are they actually telling us is going on in the Grand Canyon? And I've seen a couple of hikers who were just there. And it's funny how certain YouTubers are allowed to move about all over the place. What did I tell you about back in the day about old serial killers? How they would mail the police because they loved the chase and they wanted to get caught and they always had to brag about what they were doing. It's funny, some of these people, where they go, what follows them after. I'm just putting that out there. You guys, be safe, but seriously, be safe of your well-being and your family's well-being. Love on somebody today because you just should. That's why we're here. That's the whole reason we're here. But we got to get through this rough part first. And we cannot heal and we cannot move on in smaller communities, maybe with new people. Maybe we can finally find our people in each other. We can't do any of that until these problems are diagnosed and the truth is brought out to the light. And right now, you have a whole generation of people who basically took over the American government using almost nothing but AI and favors from the demonic. That's it in a nutshell. That's what we're dealing with. Pray, fast, repent. Not because I'm great or because I should tell you what to do. It's just a very good idea to repent. It's good for your body, heart, mind, soul, and spirit, which means it's good for your family, which in turn means it's good for your community. So love yourself and love your community enough to mind your actions, words, and deeds. Have a blessed day. I love you guys. If I can get to the right page. Bye, guys. Thanks for being here.